What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Fleet to the, you know what I'm saying? We back with another one. So, y'all see the title of this video. Might as well just get into it. A part of me don't even want to tell this story, but a part of me do want to tell this story. But I don't see how I can have a story channel without telling probably the most important story of my life so far. So, let's get into it. So, the story is actually going to take place. It starts in July 2023. I'm going to take y'all back to October 2022. It's just going to give y'all a quick synopsis of how my life was going, well, before everything kind of transpired. So, October 2022. So, I had caught C19, right? You know what that means. I caught C19, and it was bad, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you up. It was bad. Your boy ain't think he was gonna make it. So I was going through that. I'll probably get into that another time. So I caught it real bad, and I was going through some lingering effects for a long time. I'm still kind of like messed up behind it, but I was going through like lingering effects real bad for a long time. So my mental wasn't right. Like it was a bad time for me. So July 2023 rolls around. I'm starting to feel better. I'm about 70% myself around this time. Things is picking up. It's summertime. The sun is out. I started to go outside more. So yeah, on this particular day in July 2023, I'm at the park on Nostrand Ave. Anybody in Brooklyn, you know the park on Nostrand Ave. Sometimes they have free concerts there. Celebrities come, musicians. So this particular day, I can't remember what old school rap group was performing, but it was an old school rap group. Like Houdini and one of them. But it wasn't Houdini, but it was like one of those type of rap groups. And I was enjoying myself. I was having a good time. I was having a good day. Everybody was vibing. I was just chilling. Like I was by myself. I went to the park by myself. Just took a stroll. I was exercising. I'm watching the concert. And then all of a sudden, my aunt called me. Now this is the aunt that lives by my mom's down south in the country. Mind you, I'm in New York at this time. So she calls me. As soon as I see the phone, as soon as I look at the phone and I see her name, I'm thinking, it's not, those type of calls when you see a certain name, you know that it's probably not going to be some good news. So that's exactly the feeling I got when I looked at the phone and saw it was my aunt calling me. So, in the midst of me having a good time, it was particular. It was peculiar because, like I said, I wasn't used to having a good time around that time. Like I've been really sick up until that point, so that day was just really good. And then she called me, and then she said, "Hey, Chris, you need to come down here and check on your mom. She's not doing too good." And mind you, that's another strange thing because me and my mom would talk all the time. We would talk almost every day. So I didn't get that, but black people, you know how the elderly could be sometimes. They go through things they don't want you to know. And my mom's a strong woman, so that's what was going on. So she called me. She told me that I need to come down there and check on her. So I got a flight, not the next day. I got a flight the day after. So I got a flight. Went to go check on my mom's. And mind you, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. So my mom, she was diagnosed with cancer, and I believe sometime in 2022, some form of lymphoma. And this is our second time going through this. My mom was diagnosed with cancer in the year 2000, and the doctor actually gave her about 6 months to live at that time. And I was, 12 years old. So, that was a scary time for me as well. That was, she come home and tell you that, that was scary, especially for a little boy. So I'm kind of reliving that moment. So I get to where she live at down south. I look at my mom, and I know she probably wouldn't want me to tell her business, but I look at my mom, and it was heartbreaking because I just seen her for my sister's wedding not too long before that, and she looked good. And this time when I seen her, she was going through chemo and things like that. So she lost a tremendous amount of weight. Mind you, my mom, whoever's watching this, if you know my mom was never a big person. I never knew my mom to be more than 110 pounds. So when I seen her, she was down to about 70 something pounds. So that broke my heart. But it was good news. The good news was that, when I would go with her to her doctor's appointments, to the chemo, to her oncologist, they would say that everything's looking good. The cancer's not spreading. They actually, the last appointment we had, they actually said that they don't see any signs of cancer. So, but she was just so thin. The doctor was like that. She has to continue. She has to eat to get her weight up. So make sure she has strength to fight whatever she has going on. So, and the doctor was kind of like, he gave me the impression that, we get her weight up, that he's pretty sure that, she'll bounce back. And I know doctors, that's their job to make you feel comfortable in these situations. But I kind of got that vibe as well. Because like I said, the reports was coming back good. Or the PET scans and everything. So, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so as long as I could get, my mom to eat and gain some weight, that's, she's going to be good. So I'm thinking, all right, it's a no-brainer. I'll probably be back in New York in about 3 months, if that. So I'm like, all I got to do is make sure she eat. Bet. All right, cool. Y'all, when I say I could not get this lady to eat for nothing, I could not get this lady to eat for nothing. In her finesse game, I'm a strict, stern person. So when I say I was trying. And I spent the last 4 months with her. The last 4 months, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Don't get it twisted. Like, I was adamant on trying to, nurture her back. I was adamant on, spending quality time with her as well. Cause I'm not a fool. I know my mom. She was 78 years old when she passed. So I know my mom was elderly and things like that. But I did have a lot of faith. I felt like she was gonna be okay. So I did try to make her eat. So we would bump heads. We would bump heads a lot. And people who know our relationship, we always kind of been like that. We was best friends, but we kind of would bump heads a lot. She's stubborn. I'm stubborn. I'm about half as stubborn as she is. But so I couldn't get her to eat. Long story short. One day, I go to the store to pick up. I don't know. I would try to get her on fruits and stuff like that, or insurance and stuff. So I would go to the store and pick up stuff like that. So I went to the store real quick, and I really shouldn't, leave her alone. But, I went to the store real quick. I came back, and I saw my mother. She didn't look right to me. So I took her to the doctor, took her to the ER. Long story short, she had an infection somewhere. She had an infection. They had to give her antibiotics. And this is where it gets weird. So they had an infection. So she's, mind you, this is not, I'm making light of it. I'm not talking how severe it was. So she was kind of going in and out of consciousness, to be honest with you. Like, while I'm getting her, we in the car, I'm carrying her to the car. You know what I'm saying? I'm carrying her to the car. I put her in the car. Get her to the hospital. The hospital is not far at all. It's literally, I could walk there in 2 minutes, but we drove there in like a minute. Get her in the hospital. Get into the ER. She's going in and out of consciousness. And, she making jokes. She kind of making jokes while she's going in and out of consciousness. But she's like, hey, yo, Chris, go to the house and get me such and such. I can't remember what she wanted me to get, but she was adamant about me going back to her house and getting such and such. I'm like, Mom. I'm like, yo, it's not that serious right now. I'm like, yo, we'll get it when you get back. Like, when we get back, we'll get it. She looked at me. And I keep saying things are strange because that whole ordeal was strange to me. So imagine music playing. So that's what it's like while we having this conversation. There was no music playing, but imagine music playing. We having a conversation. She was like, Chris, go to the house and give me such and such. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, it's not that serious. When we get back, we'll get it together. And when she looked at me, it seemed like the music stopped. Like everything that was going on in the hospital, everything that was going on, everything stopped. So she looked at me and she said, Chris, I'm not coming back. I said, I just had a look of confusion. I'm like, and normally I'm sharp. I don't really be at loss for words. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if she knew what she was saying. So I just was like, I'm like, Mom, what you? I'm like, don't say that. You coming back? And she looked at me with it like, you're not understanding what I'm saying. Like she didn't say that, but that's the face that she gave me. She like, you're not picking up what I'm putting down. So that happened, and while they treating her for the infection, they supposed to give you antibiotics, and her blood pressure was so low actually while this was going on. Like the infection was so bad, her blood pressure got so low that they had to put her on pressors. Now pressors is it keeps your blood pressure up so that you don't die. Once you in a situation like that, your blood pressure goes so low that you pass away. So pressors are a form of life support, pretty much. So she was on pressors. Well, she was supposed to be on pressors. So they couldn't find a vein, and they put a line in her neck. And pretty much, long story short, the antibiotics and the pressors they were supposed to be put in her vein, they actually filled up her lungs with it. It was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was over 2 liters of. And these, mind you, these medications are very, very strong. They're not supposed to go in the lungs. And keep in mind, my mom was about 70 pounds. So, long story short, they put the presses in the wrong spot in her lungs. Her lungs fill up. She actually seems like she's doing better. But I don't know, the doctor that was treating her in the ER just felt like there was something wrong. So they airlifted her to another hospital. And that's when we found out that all that fluid was going to her lungs. So keep in mind, I know I'm just trying to give you'll see once everything is together. So they airlifted her to another hospital. They found out all the fluid is in her lungs. So they do a procedure to get the fluid out of her lungs. They cut her sides open, put tubes in there, and drain the fluid out. And, my mom's not conscious during this time. The whole family, flew down to see her from New York. All my sisters and my nephews and their husbands, and, everybody came down to see her. And, it was a beautiful time. It was a beautiful time. And mind you, my mom was going in and out of consciousness this whole time. Like sometimes she's awake when people, when she would get visitors. Sometimes she's not awake. And so my family fly back, and then my mother gets better. She wakes up. She asked me what happened. I told her what happened. She looked at me. She said, "Oh," and she just kept drinking her juice. And then, but mind you, keep in mind, my mom is real coherent at this time. So she's getting better. Not good enough to where she could go back home, but good enough to where she's pretty much out of the hospital. So she's out of the hospital. They recommend that she goes to a nursing home rehab facility for about 20 days to, get her mobility back. Because she did have 2, extensive procedures done, especially at her body weight and at her condition. She's fighting cancer and she's 70 pounds. And, yeah, so, they recommend that she does that. So this is real quick. Once we get to the nursing home, the first day, I bring her into the room, me and my aunt. We bring her into the room, and a nurse happens to come around, and she's giving a survey to all the patients. And now my mom has a roommate, so the nurse goes to she can't ask my mom, it's her first day, so she goes to the roommate and asks the roommate, "Hey, Miss such and such, how do you describe the treatment that you get here? Do you think it's good, great, bad?" Little check marks. And the lady goes, I think it's good. And then my mother looks at me and go, mm-hmm. She better say that before she come back in here in the middle of the night and beat her ass. I'm like, and the lady here, like, she said it loud enough for the lady to hear. My mom always had untimely humor like that. I do too. I ain't gonna lie. If you know me, you know I say jokes and stuff at the wrong time, or I just keep it real at the wrong time. That's another story. All right, so moving along. She's getting better. She's getting better. And then one day I go to visit her, and then she just doesn't seem right. Like, she just really lackadaisical. To me, she's kind of seemed like she's hallucinating. She doesn't seem right at all. So I asked that the nursing home, we send her to the house, to the ER. We send her to the ER, and I don't know, things are just not good. The doctor says she has another infection. Long story short, they saying that they don't think that she's going to make it out of this one, and that we better start, getting our affairs together. So, but they're not saying that it's over, but they're just saying that it's another infection, and they just don't think that her body is strong enough to fight it this time. But, that's my mom. We all, have faith that our family members will pull through. We all have faith that, God will pull through. I was praying, and not saying God didn't pull through, but I'm just saying that we all have faith that things will turn out the way we want it to turn out. So I call my family. This is kind of like short notice. So one sister makes it down at this time, like in the midst of right before she's done, passing away, and it was tough, because the doctor is saying that her blood pressure is steadily dropping slowly. Like it's slowly dropping while she's on life support. They keep upping the life support pressures to a high dosage to keep her here. I'm praying that she holds on at least until one of my older sisters get here. Mind you, so my family is 6 sisters. I have 4 sisters older than me. I'm the only boy. So I asked, so her blood pressure is dropping. My sister makes it, and everybody else is on the phone. My aunt's here. 2 of my aunts is here. We all in the hospital. My sister, my 2 aunts, me. We surrounded my moms. Everybody, my sisters, everybody. And the doctor's saying we could either do a certain procedure, it's pretty invasive, or if her blood pressure does happen to drop, you could DNR. That means do not resuscitate. Right? And to me, DNR at that time was completely out of the question. Completely out of the question. That's my mom's. I don't want to see her go. I didn't, I couldn't just imagine, if there's a chance to save her life, me not doing anything to save her life. But at the same time, just looking at my mom's there and you seeing, her frail, and she looked peaceful, and she looked, but it's just, if you keep it real with yourself, you just wouldn't think that a body like that would make it through an invasive surgery such as that, right? So my family members left it, they left it up to me to make the decision whether to let the doctor do the invasive surgery or to not resuscitate if she, so decide, she passes away. And I think they let me make that decision. And when I say I got older sisters, I mean like older, they're at least 10 years and up. Like all my older sisters is at least 10 years older than me and up. Between 10 and about 16, I think, something like that, years older than me. So I think they left that up to me because, one, I am the only boy, and I think they, respect that. My mom would probably want that. My mom is old-fashioned. Like I said, she's 78 from the South. And I just think that they have a certain trust and belief in me, even when I don't have it in myself. So if y'all watching any one of my sisters or family members, I love y'all, and I just, like to thank y'all for that. So, but to be honest with you, I couldn't make the decision. I couldn't make the decision. I kept going in and out the room, in and out the hospital, walking around the block. It was a tough decision for me to make. I couldn't make this decision, y'all. It's either just let my mom pass away or let them do a surgery which she could probably be suffering from, which she probably would be suffering from. But she might, it might end up saving her life. So I couldn't make the decision, y'all. So what I did was I asked God to help me. I asked my mom to help me just one last time. I said, Mom, I can't make this decision. I said, just give me a sign of what you want me to do. I'm trying not, because it was a fine line between probably doing what's best and being selfish. What's best and being selfish. Or trying to merge the two together. I don't know if what was best was being selfish or what. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I was putting what she wanted into consideration. I'm not sure if I agree with what she wanted. But long story short, I asked if she could make that decision for me. And I told the doctor that. And then, the doctor looked at me and he said, while she's on the life support, he basically said, you got to make a decision, because while she's on the life support, she's going to be here and you have to make a decision. So she's really not, who knows when she could pass away if you just keep on life support. We can't do that, basically is what he said. And I looked at him, I said, yo, trust me, if she wants to leave here, and more importantly, if God wants her to leave here, ain't no life support going to keep her here. I'm like, you don't know my mom. If she wants to go, she's going to go. If she doesn't go, then I know that she wants to stay. And then, after a while going back and forth with the doctor, the chaplain, for about 2 minutes, they agreed. So, my two aunties, and my sister was in the room. We were saying our prayers. We were just, waiting it out. And not less than 2 minutes later, both my aunts and my sister went to go get something to eat from Chick-fil-A. And I was gonna go with them, but I just stood, because I kept going in and out the room anyway to try to get my mind right and think. Because like I said, I couldn't come up with an answer. So I just stood there, and as soon as they left, not 2 minutes later, as soon as they left, I grabbed her hand, and her heart rate started going down. Her blood pressure started going down. You look at the machine, the beep started getting slower. Go from, boop, 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 like, everything just started going down. Everything started beating slower. And I started, I was singing to her while she was passing away. I was singing, Jesus loves me, yes I know, for the Bible tells me so. I don't know any gospel songs like that, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. But she always told me there's power in the name Jesus. So, I've been trying to get close to God for the last few years. I'm not no Chris Brown, not no Brian McKnight. I'm just the man that was singing to his mom. So I'm not saying it sounded good or, it was super melodic, but that's a memory that's going to stick with me. So, I sung that until everything, went flat, and she left, and then that's how it ended. And when she passed, no lie. And I don't know if I'm tripping or what, but to me, it looked like she was glowing. Like not like a weird glow, like a light, but like, how your skin glow when you, let's say you happy, or, just when somebody look at you and say, hey, what's going on? You glowing. That's how she looked to me. So that gave me some relief, and, that's why I say it was beautiful, pretty much. I was there, at her last moment. It was just me and her. Not saying I wouldn't want anybody else to be there, but, I felt like I needed that to, as a sign to know, you know, for me, her showing me that she was, you know, still there and held me down that last time. But she always held me down. So yeah, so that's it, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Oh yeah, one last thing, y'all. Even if, you know, I know a lot of you guys watching lost somebody, somebody dear to you, and even if y'all last moments wasn't like our last moments, or, you know, considered a beautiful last moment, um, don't worry about that, y'all. One thing I noticed going through this grief thing is that no moment is more important than the next when you're remembering your loved one. All the moments are important, and that moment, that, you know, the last moment, it's an important moment, but it's one moment, you know. So don't disrespect any moment, other moments that you had with your loved one, just because their moment wasn't deemed, you know, quote unquote beautiful, or a picture perfect last goodbye, you know. And yeah, I just want to leave with that, y'all. So shout out to y'all. Like the video if y'all like it. Dislike it if y'all dislike it. Subscribe. Holla at your boy. I'm out.